28% growth. Uh, Now, as I said before, we want to look into returns because we're really trying to emphasize uh, quality in our process to the customers. And one of the first things that you notice is in this table here, we have sales on one side, and on the other axis is how often those are getting returned, what percentage of the time that a product is getting returned. And the blue here is products that are in both the top 50 of products sold and of most likely to be returned. So as we can see, the front axle assembly is getting returned 25% of the time, and that's a very substantial uh, profit loss. We make $188,000 on uh, front axle assemblies, and 25% of that is getting returned. It's very close over here, but similar is with the headlamps. $2 million. And for the right headlamps, another $2 million. And again, almost 25% of that is getting returned. So that's a substantial profit loss too. And I think one of the things we'll notice here is if we look at some of these companies like uh, that are getting a lot of returns, which we really want to cut down on, like Goyette, uh, 17% in is right headlamps, 7% is left headlamps. That is very abnormal because normally it's only around 7%, and it's even higher if you go Wilworth's here, 18% and 20%. That's that's about 40% of the stuff they get from us gets returned. And that's just bad business. It's not it's a lot of money that we're giving away. And so we need to try to cut down on that. And if I were to offer some, and before I move on, the returns have gone up in the last month as well. And especially with engines have taken more of a role in that, and the headlights have grown as well. Something that's getting returned less though is doors actually. Doors have moved down on the list in the last month. But yeah, a lot of more stuff getting returned. And you can see once you press the button here, the front axle assembly just slides over. Now it's 50% that's getting returned in this last month, in this last quarter. So we gotta try to uh geez, what happened? Yeah, so we have to try to uh have more inspection on the axle assemblies, really make sure that we're checking them as we're just maintaining the cars, making sure they're working. Uh, and we need to rebuild our trust with companies like Goyette and Wilbur, Bishop and Service King, which have really grown in the amount of uh, returns. Service King, especially in the last month, in the last quarter, 98 in the last 2 years, and 27 of that is in just the last 3 months. So that's a glaring problem. And I'm sure they're not going to want to continue with us if a lot of their stuff is getting returned. So we need to rebuild trust with them and test the headlights during dismantling. That's a big thing that is affecting a lot of our top clients. So we need to make sure that those items getting checked and going out the door safe. Some things I made for this was I made a return set that included uh, all invoices who had a gross sale, a sum of gross sales of zero, which meant that there would have been a return uh, because credits signify if there's a discount and if there's a credit it's equal to the sold price, then that would signify a return. Uh, I use the returns data set as a filter for all of the charts in the return data sheet. Uh, I made orders calculated field, which told us how many distinct invoices we had, uh, percent change in total credits. You can see on uh, in here, and that was just a simple quick table calculation. Uh, Excuse me, that's percent of returns is this right here. The uh, percent change in total sales is on this chart. And I also made a overlap, returns overlap, which was a combined data set, a combined set that shows the overlap between the products with the highest likelihood being returned with the products with the highest sales, which is how we got this to show up. Uh, in conclusion, if we diversify our products that we're selling out to customers, making sure that we're not over relying on our staples like engines and transmissions, then that will allow us to remain constant and not become too dependent on one product. Furthermore, we need to create more checkpoints for quality throughout the process, making sure that everybody is devoted to testing each product and making sure that it's leaving the door as the customer would want it, especially on those headlights and on the axle assemblies. And finally, if we can leverage social media to boost eBay sales, especially with those new products that we could put on eBay, those products that are spending too long in inventory, uh, then hopefully we can see an even bigger boost in sales with that. So, thank you for your time and have a good one.